championship baseball player. That boy.
Y'all meet Kevin soon enough.
Yeah. Everybody heard of the Texas Rangers, the baseball team? Yep. So
Ranger Kevin.
we're gonna do some stuff that much of y'all that are watching have never seen before, or been explained to you before.
Yep.
We're going to talk about, everybody who does protection training, whether they're police, military, whatever. Now, there's a certain level of military that this doesn't apply to, but let's just say police and personal protection. Everything comes from sport. And the reason for that is real simple. Sport people have a recording of who did good and who did better. They have judges that saying this is the way you should do. More importantly, they have trainers that are making videos, writing books, and doing seminars. So anyone can go and learn, and they're all learning how they do things in their sport. That information is readily available, so police departments take it, and everything that you're doing is modeled after that in the personal protection world. In the police world, of course, once the dogs get on the street, the police are going to take, unless they're getting KNPV dogs, that's the only organization in the world designed to train strictly street KN dogs for the street. They are a police and military dog training organization, the largest in the world. Any other group you get a dog from is probably going to have sport titles, and that's great. They're still really good, but there's tactics that are going to be used that are going to be different between a sport dog and a police dog. We're going to show you one right now. I mean, between sport between a guard dog and a police dog. So we're going to show you one right now. Scott?
Okay. You ready?
This is Agent Butters and her dog Bullet. Our video's coming up. That was a call off. You notice how the dog drops into a guard in front of the man? Now from here, if the guy flinches or tries to escape or move, the dog will automatically rebite. So he does good outs, but we just slip that sleeve to give him a little bit of a reward. Can you take that back to the front, Scott? The other way. You hear the whoa command? This dog pulls into a stop and a guard automatically. Now.
Stop it?
No, you're good. Just go back and let it run.
I'm waiting for you.
So if you go to, a lot of the police associations have call-offs as part of their certification. If you go to most of them, now a lot of them have started, since I started this type of call-off back in the early 90s, a lot of departments have gone to using this type of call-off. Call-offs came from French ring sport. In French ring, you send the dog down to deal, they'll blow a whistle to call him off. When they blow that whistle, the dog going downfield and they come back to the handler. That's their sport. And it damn sure indicates a well-trained dog, period. Think about what you just saw versus, because most of the police associations, and I'm talking 10, 15 years ago because I haven't been involved in that world for several years, but 10 or 15 years ago, they did their call-off a sport dog training.
I don't need to call in. You can just write emails.
Yeah, they had the cell phone. We okay?
Most of the people are calling you off the video, trying to ask you questions directly.
Oh. So, what was the difference between what you just saw and the sport dog video? When I got into the guard dog business, as I expanded into Mexico and other places, we got jobs doing kind of police work. and we started modifying what we were doing to fit that thing, keep everybody safe. So what I don't want, when I saw call-offs, was I don't want a dog going downfield to somebody and then calling him off by having him turn his back on that potential threat.
Right.
Running back to me. Who you got there, Scott?
Traveler said hi.
Your baby?
Her
No,
baby.
her baby. So when that dog's coming back to that handler, this potential threat might pull out a pistol. Hell, he might pick up a baseball bat and run after the dog and hit him in the back. So that's when I decided we'll call the dog off, but I want that dog to drop into a guard in front of that man. And if that man flinches, I want the dog to stop him. Yeah. That allows two things. You can call 911 if it's a civilian application. You can call 911, your dog will hold the man at bay. That has happened with some of our pro sport dogs. There have been four incidences, I think, of our dogs guarding people till the cops got there. So that's one difference between the sport world and the regular, or the guard dog world, I should say.
Yeah.
Okay? So here's another big difference, and that is that once a dog apprehends somebody in the police dog world, he's got y'all have heard me say this 100 times, he's got 100 people to come up and back him up, cuff the guy, and take him where he wants to take him. Once in a personal protection situation, a home break-in, they kick in your door and they come after you, your dog is going to nail that person. Do you want to go up to that person and pull your dog off? Hell no. But you can put your dog in a guard, he can watch the person for you while you're calling 911. So the main difference is the guard dogs are having to handle the person almost completely. And we had to modify how we train the dogs to fit that situation. So we talk about after the bite, the initial bite, how does the dog stay safe? Let's face it, we got an advantage over a dog. We got thumbs, we can grab stuff, we got a brain, we're supposed to be able to think. Obviously, there's room to judge that, but
But if you worst case scenario it, you got to go worst case scenario.
Yeah.
If you're getting someone that's not going to lose their tomatoes when they get bit by a dog.
There you go.
So,
yeah.
You know,
you always plan for the worst case scenario.
and work backwards from there. Anything, you know, below that, it's a cakewalk.
Yeah.
But it's the same situation, may be the same, but the outcome, the situation may be different, but the outcome usually be the same.
Right.
If you get for the worst case scenario. Let's
Yep.
just say. So,
Yep.
and regardless of the scenario after that, that's already put into the dogs, and that style is in there already. So whether it's in the car, or it's outside, or to the house, it's there.
Right, right. So what we want a dog to do, which camera are we on, by the way? Okay. What we want a dog to do is control this person throughout until he is properly escorted out of the place. Okay?
Incapacitated.
Incapacitated. Yes, yes. So we also need them to survive the fight because you have no business going in there. As I started to say, we got thumbs, we got a brain. If your dog, if I'm breaking into your house and your dog hits me up in here, you know, I've got just enough wherewithal from being around just enough dogs, or maybe I got just enough stuff up my nose that I don't care. I'm just going to reach over and grab the collar, and I may just throw my arm around the dog's neck and fall on him. And we'll talk about that and when you see what these other people are doing with their dogs. But all I have to do is grab him like that, fall and break his neck. If I don't think about that, I can grab the collar, I got a thumb. I can pull the collar up and commence to choke him. So how do we keep that from happening? There's two parts to it. We'll show you one thing. Y'all have seen this one once before. You can just come get it, Carol Ann. That's all right. Now we'll show you another way that y'all have seen this before, and this was my partner in my for the longest time when I first came here. Used him in the guard dog business, and you'll see why right here.
We good?
Takes the win.
How do I make it bigger?
I don't know. I think we got stuck with that. How's that?
Can you see, Troy?
It's not really full screen.
There we go.
Oh,
You see him going
rebite.
from leg bite right up to a rebite. Watch what happens when the man comes around with his other arm to hit the dog. Rebite.
He's blocking. Basically.
Yep. And if his other first arm was still working and he tried it again, that's what would happen. Now, this is the second round. This time we're going to have the guy just come right at him and go to kick him. This is a different situation entirely. But, and again, he takes advantage of the weapons that can strike him. They can't hit him. Arms can. So he takes the guy off his feet. And there's one little thing I want you to notice. When you're on the ground in front of a dog, from experience, I will tell you, there's no worse feeling in the world than what this particular agitator is fixing to experience, except he's got a suit on. And that's when you hit the ground and the dog is right there between your legs. Guess what's in front of him before your arm?
His head, your head.
Yes, well, your other head.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was looking at the ball head.
So when you don't go to swing at the dog,
But he was going right for his head, though.
well, yeah, he did because he started swinging at him. But if he hadn't given him that motion, that means Cochise is free to go wherever he wants between your legs.
Okay.
You do get compliance with a dog like this. And rarely did anyone ever argue. So these are some of the reasons. What do you think, Scott? Would you want to mess with him?
No.
And
Without a suit, I would. A suit, I would. But without a
Sure,
suit, no.
sure.
No.
yeah.
No, that dog. We've talked about a few other podcasts. What do we call it? Martial arts.
Yeah, canine martial arts.
And that's exactly a perfect example. And people nowadays will talk about rebites,
Yep.
and they're talking about type right. The rebite. The rebite, to me, is when an assailant is threatening you in the vicinity of that dog, threatening the dog will block here, go there, come back to the other arm, he'll get this arm. So that was a perfect example right there.
Yep. I was proud of my boy. He did a good job. And I'll tell you something else he did differently. We had people come out and want to catch him. We do runaways, and of course, typically, when you do runaway in a suit, you do what I call a chicken wing. You stick your arm out to give the dog a target. Well, remember, he's a guard dog, so he's supposed to hit everything high center mass. It was always fun watching these decoys come out, totally trained in a sport world. And they'd say, "Well, I want to catch Cochise in a runaway." And we'd say, "Okay." Suit him up, put him on the field, turn him on, watch him go woof, 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 and they'd start running, and they'd stick out their arm. My dogs hit high center mass. He launches from behind them, and he would grab them by the back of the neck, or the collar of the suit, and just ride them down to the ground because no one could. I mean, he was 90-something pounds, doing 30 miles an hour, and all of a sudden he's latched onto your back. Next thing that happens is you're face down in the dirt. So these are the things that you don't see in the sport world. And if you're going to look at, excuse me, if you're going to look at personal protection, you need to train this way, I believe, because the main reason or the main job of a personal protection dog is to deter a fight from happening or an assault. But what do you do in case of a home invasion? They're coming in.
Coming in, they're in.
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you do? What do you do if someone, you're at a red light or you're in a shopping center with your Christmas packages? I'm bringing up these instances because I've lived through them. And the punk walks up as you're carrying your packages to your car, sticks a gun in your ribs, and says, "Give me your keys." Your dog can't intimidate or stop that person. He's already there. But there is a way to do it. Same thing's going to go with that home invasion. They kick in your doors, they're coming in. Your dog needs to know these skills, in my opinion only. Let me be clear. Everything they do in sport is great. Everything they do in sport is to make those judges see the ability of your dog to complete the task that you're asking him to do. But I also feel a little bit, now this is going to be where I'm a little biased, and maybe a lot of what they do in sport is designed to keep the decoy, and they have to keep him safe, number one, and comfortable, number two. If they did to the average decoy what I used to do to my average agitators, you turn them over pretty fast. You need someone that's going to be a little more consistent about getting whooped, right? So, you see in some of the differences between a guard dog and the way I train my dogs. And don't get me wrong, there's guard dog companies, lots of them, that they're not in business anymore. The guard dogs are just not in fashion. There's more guard dog companies that, or what I call sign companies. They counted on putting a big dog in a fence, used car lots, construction sites, and putting up a big sign saying guard dog. And they weren't necessarily that so. But they weren't in the high crime areas that I had to contend with in Mexico and in El Paso. OK Knighton in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, down near the swamps at the refineries. You know, these people that were in areas where serious professional thieves were coming in doing things. Gives you a different outlook. So that's where I hone my stuff. But Scott's, from the agitator viewpoint, I'm gonna let him go about what he thinks. Scott, we're gonna show you one of his in a minute, but he works the dogs like a guard dog trainer wants the dogs work. What in your opinion, what do you see as the big difference between what we're doing and what you see on YouTube?
Well, to be honest, on YouTube, the dogs are pushing in. The bites are all pushing in to the pit. They're pushing to the dog. His legs are hanging usually, and they're turning these dogs around, whatever. No, that's great for that, but I want the dog to be actually where he can incapacitate, like I said a while ago, the perpetrator, but also the dog can be safe and have choices, because you got a dog that's coming up, like Butch said a while ago, when he's coming in, he's done, right? You can get him. You get a dog that bites and starts pulling back and pulling. Well, the dog has the guy by the arm. One, the perpetrator is off balance. You know what I'm saying? He's off balance, and he's thinking about himself, and the dog can re-bite the other arm, but the dog's always in control of the fight, and the outcome will usually always be the same.
Right.
So it's totally different, because I want the dog to push in on the bite, but then I want the dog to pull out.
On the hit. On the initial hit.
You want to hit hard.
Yeah.
You want to hit hard. But after the initial hit, that's where it all changes. That's when you train the dogs and teach them to pulling out, to fight. And I understand that some on the sport bites and everything else, there's ways to put pressure on the dogs, which is great.
Yeah.
But there's also ways to put pressures when they're pulling also.
Yeah.
So they don't lose focus and lose their bite,
And on the street, those guys don't know how to put the pressure on the dogs.
Mm-hmm. But
So,
you gotta test the dog and put pressure on them.
That's right. You teach the dog to put pressure on the man.
Yep.
That's the biggest
But
difference.
you gotta do the dog, then it doesn't affect him any. Then he's the one in control.
Right.
That's what I was trying to say, basically.
And so the biggest difference we're gonna do in the guard dog business is we want the dog to hit the man, like Scott said, really hard, and then let's do everything we can to get that man off his feet on his butt. When he does, you've seen what Coach Cheese can do to a person. And that, believe me, that agitator outweighed him by quite a lot. But the trick is that initial move the dog has to make. We want to teach our dogs to hit high center mass because that makes everybody throw their arms up. I don't care if they got a pistol. When you see all 64 teeth coming at you, shiny ivories, that wide, and a whole bunch of dark in the middle, you're going to go, oh crap, period. And the dog's going to take you down. So once he takes you down, you need to teach that. And again, what Scott said, you don't want a dog. When they pick these dogs up and start flinging them around, this dog's helpless. There's nothing he can do. I don't know what the purpose of that is. I've never seen those sort of maneuvers in any of the accepted international bite sports, but it seems to have become a thing here in America.
I've seen it in the police trainers.
Trying that.
No, they have the guy in a suit doing runoffs. And
Oh, yeah?
The dog gets him and flips the guy over, and the guy ends up coming on top of the dog. The dog's still in a bite.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's the pressure to get the dog, because the dog's,
That I can understand a little bit. See how much pressure the dog.
because they're rolling too on the ground.
Yeah,
so
rolling on the ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about when they pick them up and flash them around.
I don't know. I've seen it a few times, but
I'll show you how we start our dogs to take a person off their feet. You had something, Carol Ann? Roll it, Scott. This is a 6.5-month-old Western Shepherd.
yep, you're gonna work him up a little bit. I'm coming back
70 pounds. Female.
down.
And you see how the minute she bites, she plants those front feet, and she's putting all her energy into pulling this man back.
Now we incorporate this also with I call it the half moon. Basically, it's the technique in working the dog. I didn't show it here because the dog's still learning. She's doing it, but you're bringing that dog in, up and down. You're not jerking the dog. You're rolling that dog up. Paws touch you. And when the paws touch you, you let the dog go, and the dog starts pushing off and pushing off. All of a sudden, he comes up. He'll jump. He'll take the initial bite, push off automatically after. You have to, when he's not even being work like that, after he's trained, and he'll start digging and he's pulling back. Then you can start going with geeks and throws and get the dog to work the defensive side where you're throwing kicks at it or working the stick on him. And after a while, the dog will automatically start dodging also. So your dog's biting, pulling.
Right.
The guy's out of balance, and he's also dodging. So, this is just on the bite itself.
Yeah.
So you're actually incorporating defensive techniques, but the dog has the advantage and is on the offense. Even though he's on the defense, he's on the offense because the perpetrator
Helpless.
is helpless. So the dog's actually defensively being offensive. And offensive also,
Yeah, yeah,
if that makes any sense.
yeah. Oh yeah. And if when we're starting to work these dogs, literally all of this is learned. We have ways that we teach them to throw their feet up. If you watch a lot of the sleeve work, especially on the Schutz IGP stuff, most shepherds hit like this and their feet just hang, their front feet. And then the decoy does his stick hits and does his drive. And that's, the judges are looking at that and they're judging for that. But again, they don't want those feet out there because that presents a whole different picture for that helper to catch the dog. That's a whole different sort of a deal. Because if he jumps and puts 60, 80, 90 pounds in your bread basket, you're liable to bend over and go whoof. So
You get your occasional dogs that the smarter ones will actually grab the leg.
yeah,
Males do that
yeah,
a lot.
Yeah,
They'll
a lot of
actually-
males will do that.
they'll
yeah,
grab.
yeah, and that's good too. Get them, What we're trying to do, or what I tried to do with my guard dogs, is I want to keep them safe. I want them to live till I want to make sure they're alive when I come to pick them up the next morning. And that meant they had to win those fights. And that's how we started developing the things we're doing, that I did with these dogs, along with other, thank goodness, old timers in the guard dog business who were kind enough to bring me along and show me things that I didn't really understand. And then as we broadened out and we started doing more patrol dogs, working for Mr. Bush and some other dignitaries, we did bodyguard work for the President of Mexico. But mostly I learned because of little things like business partners that break up from a business and one wants to go, domestic violence victims. We did a lot of that. And I incorporated that with what we'd done for competitions, and that's how Pro Sport came about. So if you think you got a martial artist canine, you might want to give us a call. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Scott? Anything we missed?
No, pretty much. I mean, it's just different techniques, and there's techniques we use, and they're proven and true. I mean, there's nothing wrong with pit biters or sport dogs. There's nothing. That just was a common practical purpose of if that's what you want, fine. Mm-hmm. But for practical purpose, and the odds are probably better in your favor if you get a dog that actually defensively is offensive.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a shirt that says that. Yeah. I'm defensively offensive. Take it how you want it.
He's really offensive when he forgets the deodorant, folks. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
What else?
Don't worry about that. Yeah.
We got anything else, Mr. Troy? Troy's second wind's over there, running our sound for us.
Good. A lot of information.
A lot of information.
So much information. I'm not even paying attention to what I'm doing.
Good.
Is this
good.
live? We may not even be live then.
Yeah.
We're live. But don't. Regardless if you want a dog that's trained one way or another, and you want a defensive, offensive dog, always remember that it's all about the dogs. So tune in next week, and we'll have some more vittles to share with you all.
Take it easy, folks.
Take it easy.